My name is Uffe Elbaek, and as you can hear, I'm a foreigner. I'm from Denmark, and I'm a member of the Danish Parliament, and I've also been Minister for Culture in Denmark. So thank you for inviting me. It's a really interesting, important event you're all part of, and we are here in this very black box. So I imagine there's a kind of a statement in that politics is the new black, or what? Anyway, it's Sunday noon, and I hope that we're able to have 15 good minutes together. What my purpose for my little speech is to invite you into the backstage of how to create a new political party in Denmark, and just to get a feeling about the audience. How many of you are members of a political party right now? So around 10%. How many of you have been a member of a political party? That's a bit less. And then at least half has never been a member of a political party, which in a way is very similar to the situation in Denmark. What I would like to do is just to tell a little story and take you back to the spring of 2013. And at that time, I was in a kind of a conflict with my own government. I've just stepped out of the cabinet and had a lot of critical reflection about how is it to be part of a center-left government who took over in Denmark in 2011. A lot of Danes. And please, when I'm talking, please reflect about your own situation here in UK and figure out is there any similarity or is there similar patterns. But in 2011, we elected a new center-left government after more than 10 years of a liberal conservative government. And everyone was looking forward to not business as usual, but business as unusual from a political point of view. And what happened was, of course, there was a difference. But at the bottom, it was the same economic model. It was the same kind of understanding about political culture. It was the same kind of answers when we looked into the crisis of Europe, etc., etc. So 2 years later, I started to have quite some worries about, is this actually the way we should handle our task as politicians? Is this really the answer for the future? How can we actually imagine a radical different future than the one we are presented? So some critical questions bubbled up in me, and together with my friends and colleagues, we started to discuss, should we do some difference? Should we actually create a new kind of political party and a political platform? And over the summer of 2013, we started to discuss these issues. Should we actually create a new political party? In the beginning, I said no. There's enough parties in Denmark. We have 8 parties in the parliament, so fuck no. I'm an old man. I think I've done my shit, if I can say it in that very direct language. I'm off. But the activists around me said, Uffe, maybe we should actually dive deeper into it and see if we could come up with a new kind of answer. And then we started to talk about, is it actually a party we want to launch, or should it be a new political platform? A platform where a party could be an element, but where there also was a movement, a think tank, media, education, whatever. And of course, the back curtain of all this discussion was a huge criticism towards the neoliberal economic system and a huge worrying about what is happening on the planet Earth when it comes to environmental issues. So a criticism toward the economic model and really some doubts about how do we hand over the planet to the next generation. That was the back curtain of all the discussions. So in the fall of 2013, we decided, yes, we want to launch a new political platform. But the first thing we will announce is a new political party. And the reason for that was actually because we were inspired by an interview by Vivienne Westwood, who said in an interview with BBC that when she did all her crazy haute coutures, she always remembered that there should be a zipper and button. So then people could focus on zippers and button and feel safe, and then she could do all the crazy stuff beside that. So we launched the party because everyone have a picture about a political party. And we did it in the 27th of November 2013. So a bit more than a year ago, there was born a new political party in Denmark called the Alternative, a green entrepreneurial party. And when we announced it at a press meeting at the parliament, not maybe 30 seconds later, we were declared dead by all the political commentators. Why? Because we decided to not do three things you normally do when you launch a party, at least in the Danish parliament. I don't know how many of you have seen Borgen. So you know about my workplace. So normally when you launch a political party in Denmark, first of all, you try to get some members of MPs from the other parties over to your team. We decided, no, we're not going to do that, because if we should create drama, it should be our own new drama, not old stuff drama. Secondly, we decided not to invite or ask some of our VIP friends to support the project, because we said, no, we want to create our own solid bass sound, not connected to the media, but something coming from the bottom up. And thirdly, we said, we're not going to come out with three easy political statements, but instead we presented at the press meeting 6 core values. This is the 6 core values we believe in, which will affect our thinking and decisions. And just to say a few of them, courage, of course, we need courage to do what we're doing. Empathy towards the people we're working together with. Transparency, so everyone are able to look us over the shoulder. Generosity, and so on. So 6 values, and the 6th values was humor. Because a lot of political debates and a lot of political dialogues and fights in the parliament is totally without humor, and there's a lack of life energy and presence in a very humanistic way, that we thought that humor was important. Then we also wrote a manifesto saying this is actually the direction we want to move into. And then we launched 6 core questions we would like to invite the Danes into the debate with us. And so after the press meeting and everyone declared us dead, we said, okay, let's see what the Danes thinks. And then we went on a tour from the top of Denmark and all the way down, heading towards the capital. And I still remember the first meeting was on a cafe in the northern part of Jutland. And a quarter to 4, the meeting should start at 4. A quarter to 4, it was a bit the size of this. It was totally empty. And I said, damn it, this is a disaster. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was full. And then it continued all through Denmark and ended up in the capital. There were places where there came 200, 300 people. And there were 2 main issues coming up in all these debates. And then please reflect about your own discussion here in the UK if it's similar. One question which came up was, we can't cope with the growth perspective which is forced upon us. We are fed up about the discussion about that we have to be more effective, more productive. We are fed up about the rat race. So that was the first question. We don't believe it anymore. We don't believe that we get more happy to consume more. So that was the first issue. The second was that we are fed up about the political culture. We're fed up about how you debate in the parliament. We're fed about that there's only two blocks we have to identify with, either the government or the opposition. It should be possible to create another kind of a political culture. So there was an echo out there. So then we decided to produce our political program, and we did it. I don't know if anyone has done it similar around Europe, but what we tried to do was to crowdsource it. So we did 20 political laboratories over the next few months, and more than 700 people has been co-writers to the political platform. Political program. So, the last year we have established ourselves as a political voice in Denmark. We are trying to collect signatures so we're able to run get on the ballot and run for parliament, the election, national election, which is coming up very soon. We have been able to select candidates, etc., etc. So we are actually very close to succeed. That will be on the ballot for the next national election this year. And it all started that 10 people sitting around a table in the kitchen saying, should we do it? And I just want to tell you that whatever you think and do at this event here is important. And if there are 10 people deciding we can change the agenda, political agenda, you can do it. So the last thing I would say is it then important to do it, and I hope that I'm not running over time, Sheila. But why do we do it? Why is politics important? Why is society important? And then I'll close my speech with telling a little story about my mother. I'm so old now that I accept that I'm affected by my family. So in our family, election day was always very important. And we went down and voted and went back to my parents' place and had a great dinner and saw the news coming in on the TV. But 2 elections ago, my mother was very ill, so she had to be at the hospital. She was really, really ill. So she got a single room, and then we went to the hospital, 3rd floor, down the lobby, and found the room where she should be. But when we entered her space, single room space, the bed was empty. And we got a totally shock, because she was really, really ill. We went out and talked to the nurse, and she started the discussion saying, we couldn't do anything. And I got a totally shock, because that meant that she had died. And then she looked at me and said, Uffe, we couldn't do anything. She demanded to go down and vote. So she had called the local activist, a young guy, 19 years old, and he came to the hospital, and she went down in the car, a very old car, and went down to where she had to vote. And then and Jens and I, my husband and I, we were waiting for her to come back, and she's a little lady. So after 1 hour or so, 1.5 hours, she came up with the elevator down the alley, and then she went past us, and she didn't even look at us. She just passed us, and then went to her bed, up in her bed again, and all the nurses came and put all the stuff into her veins. And then she looked up at me and she said, Uffe, 1 vote can make the difference. And that's what you have to decide here. What kind of government do you want to have here in the UK? What kind of political voice do you want to hear? What kind of discussion is important? What questions are important? So there is an alternative, not only in Denmark, also in the UK. Thank you.